Welcome to this video named Retro Games based on the printing of characters. You will see how we developed two very known retro games, Spaceship and Snake. I am Piero Garcia and I will guide you on the next presentation, representing the group JIG formed by Cristian Bejarano, Jose Marquina, and me. This project was developed in the course of Programming for Electronic Engineering of Antenor Orrego Private University from Peru. Our advisor was the Master Engineer Jorge Alba. This presentation is divided in 4 parts. Firstly, we have a brief introduction of the project. Then, we will see the project stages where we describe the previous work weekly progress. Thirdly, we are going to see a sneak peek of the code. And in the 4th part, we are going to watch a demonstration of the 2 retro games. About the project. At the beginning, we had the idea of making a mini console of these 2 retro games. We didn't realize how difficult could it be to do something like that. At that moment, the teacher gave us the idea to start with the language C++, using the console of Windows to compile. As I said at the beginning, both of the games are based on the printing of characters. But what does this mean? It's simple. When someone makes a program in C++, for example, a simple string as a hello word, you are printing characters in the console. And in both games, you are printing characters too. But in this one, we can control the position of the characters. How do we do this? With the use of certain libraries. Also, this helps us to use special characters from the ASCII code to be able to make a cooler shape and create limits in which it moves. Now, we will see some features of a spaceship game. As we can see in the image, this game has a life bar in which we can see the total lives in health, which will decrease if the asteroid hits you. On the left side, we have the score that will increase by 5 points for each asteroid you shoot down. Down here is the ship. And finally, around the console are the limits where the ship is going to move. As you can appreciate, the game is quite simple, but it has very special functionalities and characteristics. The characteristics of the game Snake. On the left, it only has a score and limits where it will move. If the snake hits a limit, the game will end and close. The snake itself is a character line. Each time the snake eats its food, which could be considered an apple, the score will increase by 10 points. Now, we will move to the second part of the presentation, which is the stages of the project. Here, we will talk about the weekly advances that were made throughout the course. As you can see, the first 2 weeks we search and choose the project. From the 3rd week, we began to develop the project. Of the teacher's recommendation, we start with different ways to print characters, like the use of cout and printf for data output. In the 4th week, we were able to control the movement of the character, which was the most important thing for the development of our project. For the 5th and 6th weeks, we set the limits and changed the way the ship looked, because it was made only by asterisks at first. In week 7, we have the life bar and the asteroid, but it was in week 8 where we detected the explosion and decreased health in hertz in the life bar. In week 9 and 10, we managed to keep the ship to fire and erase the shots since they were hanging below the limits. For week 11 and 12, we have managed asteroids to appear randomly and the asteroid bullet impact was also detected. And from week 13 to 15, everything corresponding to the Snake game was done. This was faster and easier than the spaceship game. In the 3rd part of this presentation, we'll see a sneak peek of the code. Here we can see the libraries used for the spaceship game and the defined variables. In this part are the main functions of the game, which allow us to give movement to the characters. We also see the void function limites, that limit the movement of the ship around the console. Then we have 3 classes. The first one is Navecita Chida, that has certain void functions that characterize it. Next, the asteroid class, which, with the other void functions, move the asteroids and make them appear randomly. The class Disparo are the shots that the ship makes. And finally, we have the main function that calls all our classes and functions described previously. In the code of the Snake game, we see that the same libraries were used as in the spaceship game, but in this case, we don't have classes, only void functions that allow us to know the position of the character and save the position. also the body of the snake, and the foot and the points obtained. Finally, the main function that calls the previous function. At last, we will watch a demonstration of both games. First, we will watch a demo of the spaceship game and the features that we described before. You can see how the ship moves and shoots, the life bar drops when the collision between the bullet and the asteroid is detected, and how the ship explodes when life declines to zero. Now, the game Snake. We can see how the snake moves and how every time it eats an apple, the score increases by 10 points. To end this presentation, I will mention a famous phrase of when life was Alejandro Tawada. If you can imagine it, you can program it. Thank you so much for paying attention to this video.